All right, moving right along. Now we are going to get into solving some very simple equations that have some kind of, weird numbers with them. So let's start with this one that says n minus 3.24 equals 42.1. Okay, so the process I usually use for solving equations is the first thing I do, right, is if there is any combining like terms or any cleanup I have to do on each side, then I do that cleanup, all right? So for step one, I would always do combine like terms, and then the other thing I would do is if I had distributive property, right, I would probably do that first if I had it, but that would be what I would do. And then once you do that, you should then have no more than two terms on each side, right? And so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to segregate your variables and your constants, right? You're gonna split those up. So in other words, you're gonna have your variables on one side and your constants on the other. And if you think of this kind of as like a fence, you want one on one side, one on the other side. And I always, when I work with younger students, I always call it cows and chickens, right? You put the cows on one side of the fence, you put the chickens on the other side, right? So in this case, I didn't have to do any combining like terms or distributive property. Everything's pretty simple, but I can segregate because I have a constant over here with my variable, right? So I'm going to take that and I'm going to move it over to the other side. And then so the way you do that is you do opposite operations, right? Opposite operations. So you're going to, in this case, we're going to add because we're subtracting, right? So we go 3.24. We're going to add that to this and then just simplify it, right? So you have 4, 3, and 45.34 is equal to n. And then the third step is to isolate your variable, all right? And what that means is you want a coefficient. I'm just going to write that of 1. And it has to be positive. That's what you want, a coefficient of positive 1. And I have a coefficient of positive 1. So guess what? This is done. And then it's always good practice to plug this back in and see if it works. This is a simple one. Is 45.34 minus 3.324 42.1? And if you're not sure, just do it and then see what you get. And lo and behold, yeah, it works. All right, now on this one right here, okay, if you need these directions later, you can come back and get this again, right? I'm going to move it because I need the space. So on this one right here, okay, we have negative 5/8 x equals 20. So what does that mean? It means we're multiplying negative 5/8 times x. You see why it's helpful to be able to interpret what these mean, right? Negative 5/8 x times x equals 20. So what we want to do is there's no combining like terms to do, but what we can do is we do want to get rid of this negative 5/8 because obviously it is segregated, right? Nothing's going on there, and so we're going to, the last thing you'll have to do is to isolate the variable. So the way you isolate the variable when you have a fraction, right? So whenever you have a fraction, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply by your reciprocal. All right, you're going to multiply by your reciprocal. So it's negative 5/8. Your reciprocal of negative 5/8 is negative 8/5. I started to write negative 5/8 and I stopped myself. And so we'll go negative 8/5 right here. Okay, and now when we multiply, and then when you do that, this whole side cleans up and that cancels it out, basically makes it 1, which is where we want to go. And then you go 20 times negative 8 is negative 160 over 5. And then when you simplify that, you get negative 32. All right. So this would be a good time now to pause your video, try these two problems, and then we will reconvene and see how you did. Okay. All right. We'll go through these quickly. We're going to add, right? To get the variables over, there's no combining like terms to do because it's pretty clean. And then add it up and you get 39.29 is equal to x. This is already 1, so there's no dividing step or multiplying step that we need to do. So this one is complete, and we're happy with that. And then for this one, 2/3 y equals negative 18. Because it's a fraction, you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. All right, so let's do that. So we'll go times 3/2. Right, let's make this 1. This whole junk cleans up, and you get y is equal to negative, well, 18 times 3 is negative 54, right? Negative 18 times 3. And then 1 times 2 is 2. And negative 54 divided by 2 is negative 27. Remember, fractions are division problems. And then if you wanted to, you can put these both back in and check them, and you'll see that they're accurate. And so the big thing is once you understand the process, is algebra is all about using opposites and keeping whatever you do to one side you have to do to the other, right? That's always the big thing. So good luck with these when you do this style of problem on your homework. I'm going to stop the video now, and then we will talk to you next when we do example 5.